Partners. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering the 4-star partners that I found that were absolute outliers and are game changers that you should be leveling up and using on the different characters in your Chaos Zero Nightmare account. We're going to be going over all of the different support classes here: Striker, Vanguard, Ranger, Hunter, Psionic, Controller. We're going to be taking a look at some of the powerful 5-star options, but then showcasing some of the powerful 4-star ones that can kind of replicate what some of these 5 stars can do for you. For some instance, someone like Scarlet here is about stacking up damage percent total bonuses for using consecutive cards on a character. A lot of the times this is going to be with 0 and 1 cost cards. So who can do something very similar to someone like Scarlet or Marianne here? Now we have Lillian, who is an outstanding 4-star striker partner. It's going to give you the passive effect of doing 10% more damage, even at refinement rank 1 here, for using 1 cost or less, which is a big deal for someone like Maylin, who can get their cards down to 0, or Rin. A lot of different ways to reduce the costs of 1 cards down to 0, and this will affect both of those at 1 as well as 0. But also at the same time, when you use a skill card, you're going to get a 10% attack card damage increase for 1 turn as well. So if something like Maylin's skill, the Armada, that gives you a stacking damage buff for every card you use that turn, or her skill that can draw strikes out of the deck for you as well, is something that's going to allow you to facilitate getting stacking damage percent bonuses. On top of that, though, the ego skill for this card is pretty good, as it's going to draw you an attack card out of the deck that costs 1 or less. So this is an insane 4-star option for strikers if you're a 0 or 1 cost, basically like combo striker. Another interesting option if you're someone who wants to use 2 cost cards as a striker, is going to be this Ritotska. All right, this is going to give you basically what we talked about previously, but for 2 costs. So 2 costs more, 10% damage here, and then at the start of the turn, one of your cards in your hand is going to get a stacking damage percent bonus for the total cost. So if you have something that costs 2, it's going to get 2 of these 5%. If you have something that costs 3, it's going to get 3 of them for 15% total damage. So it's a very easy way for you to just, on someone that wants to stack up and use like maybe 1 or 2 big hitting 2 cost cards as a striker, this is going to be the partner for that character. Now, the Vanguard options, there's really just going to be one that I really want to get in here. Wilhelma is going to be like the counter character, which I don't really like this Vanguard all that much because they need to be vulnerable. It's just like a damage boosting Vanguard. But actually, Rachel is phenomenal. I would definitely level Rachel for your Vanguard if you're using one. The ego skill alone, just a little bit of a shield, but also being able to use 2 ego points to draw one in a lot of situations can help you out tremendously. But the passive here is going to give you shield gain increase, and also can give you a little bit of counter attack chance on top of that for some free damage. If you're looking for a 4-star partner for your Vanguard, I would 100% use Rachel, unless you're specifically using someone like Maribel, who wants to counterattack a bunch by herself, or Magna, who wants to counterattack a bunch by herself and doesn't really need this additional passive. But for a traditional Vanguard like Calliope, or someone who doesn't have counter in their kits, wants to benefit from the draw card and be like a supportive type EP skill, Rachel is going to be amazing for you there. And I really like the benefit of the free shield gain that she gives on her passive. Now, if we're looking at different Ranger partners, no one's really going to come in and stand aside and kind of duplicate what Solia, Tina, or Marin can do here. But Rosaria as a 4-star partner for Rangers is insane. And honestly, this partner is so good, you can even put it on non-Ranger characters. So the passive here is just going to give you some additional damage percent bonus here. And then you can also get a chance to gain morale when you use an upgrade or skill card. Honestly, that's not why this card is so good. Really, it's all about the EP skill here. So for 2 EP, you're going to draw a card, or if you have an enhanced card in your deck, it's going to go and get that for you. This is why you can put this on someone who isn't even a Ranger. Think of like a support that is in your party, someone like maybe Cassius, who wants to go and get their upgrade quest in this form of Cassius, where you can use the Pop-Eyed Popper quest chain. A lot of the times he has ways for it to be a card that starts in your opening hand, but some different epiphanies are even stronger than that. For the sake of Cassius, one allows you to pick what quest you want. This will allow you to just go draw that quest out of the deck for 2 EP at the start of the battle, and then you can just pick whatever quest you want. So if you have something in your deck that is a necessity for your game plan, a one specific upgrade card and you don't really have anyone else as a partner for one of your supports laying around, or maybe even like a tank, Rosaria is really, really good at allowing you to just have access to a tutor for free off of any character for the low cost of 2 EP. This is probably one of the best 4-star support partners in the game, just because this ability is just that strong. If you haven't tried it yet, go and try it, level her up. Even if you're not using a ranger, if your deck is based around some sort of specific enhanced buff, try it out. I think you're gonna like this card a lot. Looking for some hunter partners. Sadly, some of the best ones are gonna be the 5-star options, but we do have 4 stars in the form of a COD here, as well as Carity. And between the two of them, I kind of feel like I like Carity a little bit more than a COD, but it comes down to personal preference. A COD is basically going to increase your bullet damage as the passive, and the ego skill is going to give you crit chance increase for the rest of the battle for one whole turn, which is pretty nice if you're trying to get your crit chance up to like 100% in the form of like maybe you're using Luke, who has some bonus crit chance on some of his cards already, like 50%. This can bump you up to 75, and then maybe you have like 25 crit rate from gear early on. This is where this one's kind of going to shine, because you want to get that guaranteed value from the EP that you're spending there with someone like a COD. But if you don't have super high crit chance, it's kind of like a gamble. It's not really all that worth it. So something like Carity, especially early on, is just always going to be bumping up your damage. So you're going to get damage percent bonus at the start of the turn for one attack card. But then when you generate cards, like generating bullets, like a lot of hunters like to do, it's going to give you that 10% damage buff again for the rest of the turn there. Then if you choose to use the EP skill here, it's just going to be a 20% damage bonus increase. So unlike a COD, who's going to give you 25% crit rate, which may or may not increase your damage, Carity is something that's always going to be reliable for you to use. If you're using that 2 precious EP on a skill, this is just going to be for one entire turn, 20% damage. That's going to be amazing all of the time. And so I would suggest, if you were picking between the two of them for a hunter, I would go with Carity. Hey guys, this one's going to be kind of all on its own here. Psionic Partner. Eloise is just kind of, she's the only 4-star Psionic Partner that you have, so I don't really have a reason to talk much more about this card. But what I will do is compare her to, you know, the 3-star Zatera. Zatera is so just basic bones, just 8% attack, heal after battle, 2 EP for a shield. No, definitely not. But if you're using a Psionic character, you don't have a 5-star partner, you didn't buy the Battle Pass, you didn't pick up Antia, you didn't pull Bria, you can actually get Eloise from the, I think the green currency you get out of the tower mode. You can pick her up for 300 points there. And this is definitely someone that you should pick up if you don't have access to a 5-star Psionic partner. There's only 2 Psionic characters in the game right now in the form of Tressa as well as Kayron. And this card works very well with both of those characters with its ego skill here. For 3 EP, it's pretty expensive. But for the entire turn, every time you exhaust a card, you're going to put Weaken on an enemy, which is going to reduce the amount of damage that they do to you substantially. It's 25%. You can put multiple stacks on as well, so it lasts for multiple turns and multiple attacks from the enemy there. This is a very good partner for that reason. Just the ego skill alone is a nice upgrade from the 3-star, because it makes your chaos runs more consistent. You get into those boss battles, those elite fights, where they're just going to hammer you with a haymaker, and you're just like, oh, I don't need to take all this damage. Pop 3 EP, reduce their damage by 25%, right? Put a bunch of shadow daggers out there, exile a bunch of futilities and exhaust them, and give them like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stacks of weakness all in one turn. And for the rest of that combat encounter, you're basically just mitigating damage by 25%, which is insane. And then on top of that, it's just going to give you a nice DPS boost as well. So it's going to give you 10% attack card damage increase. And then if you exhaust a card, it's going to give you an additional 12% on top of that. So this is a significant upgrade to the 3-star one. And I wanted to talk about it, even though it's the only option, because you guys can go pick this one up off of doing the tower for 300 of the tower currency that you get rewarded. I forget what it's called, but go buy it. And we have some controller options, and honestly, there's some incredibly powerful controllers. The 2 5-stars are very unique, and they don't really have any other sort of 4 or 3-star options that do anything similar to themselves. But the 2 4-star options are also pretty strong here as well. Arwen is going to give you HP and healing increase, but very importantly as well, very similar to the effect of being able to reduce damage against big attacks here, you have the Ponopoko's Cheer, which is going to give you amount of stacks equivalent to the amount of enemies that are going to try to attack you. They have the attack action of some kind at the start of your turn here, and it stacks up to 3 times. And even at R1 here, Refinement 1, it's 10% damage reduction per stack. So if 3 enemies are going to attack you, you're going to get 3 of these Ponopoko stacks, and the first attack is going to be reduced by 30%. Even against like a big boss where there's just 1 enemy and he's going to hit you with a giant haymaker attack, reducing the damage by 10% for free is pretty nice. And then on top of that, if you want to reduce the damage even more, you do have the EP skill that's going to heal you a little bit for 3 EP, but also gives you 1 stack of damage reduction. So this Arwen card is very good at survivability in any team, as long as you put this thing on a controller, because you're going to have the damage reduction from the passive and the damage reduction from the EP skill at the same time. And if you want to combine it with, you know, the Psionic card we just went over, where you can weaken things, you can whittle enemies down to literally hit you for, like, I've seen bosses at the end of chaos runs hit me for 1-1-1. Like, just take no damage from their giant haymaker attack and you just laugh it off. So this is a very good card here. However, Alyssa, a lot of the times also can be pretty good. So it's going to give you a defense % bonus, which you might ask, why is this relevant on a controller? Well, all of the healing skills in the game is based off of your defense stats. So this is going to directly increase the amount of healing you get from all of your healing skills. It does passively heal you a little bit at the end of the combat as well. So this is helpful in chaos runs on top of that. And then the 2 EP here, you do get 1 morale for 1 turn, so it's an interesting way for you to have a damage buff for 2 EP for 1 turn. It's not a crazy significant amount. It is 20% for everyone, and it does stack with other ways of stacking morale. So it's a pretty nice, little bit more offensive version of a controller card for you here. A lot of the times, at the end of the day, there's so many positive and amazing controller characters, even at 4-star. You're going to be using probably 1 of each of them a lot of the times in your party. So definitely level these 2 4-star controllers up. And I think it's great that there's so many powerful 4-star options. Hopefully this did, you know, help you out in some way. If you were trying to make a decision on which of the 2 or 3 4-stars you wanted to level up, put them on, are they worth it? This helped you out. If it did, let me know down below who you're using, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Let them know. Send it all in.